Hello everyone, it is Thursday, my dudes, which means it is time to talk about this week's episode of Marvel's Agatha All Along. This was episode 7. We've got one more week, which will be the last 2 episodes right before Halloween. Still think they could have just, dropped one on Wednesday and then dropped the finale on Halloween. They could have done it, but whatever. Disney's decision, not mine. I feel like the first, I feel like a broken record. Like, I'm enjoying the show. And I don't know whether that sounds like it's a bad thing that I don't have much to say on whether or not I like it. I don't mean it to sound like a bad thing. I just wish I had more to offer besides spoilers on whether or not I'm enjoying it. I did appreciate more the second time through the sort of non-linear element of this episode. This episode's a little confusing at first until you get what's going on. And you do get what's going on. Like, they explain it pretty well. And then you are able to follow along after that. And it's definitely easier on a rewatch to kind of just get the vibe of what's going on with this episode. So, I'm really liking the show. I'm looking forward to episodes 8 and 9 next week. And, I think I'm somehow going to wind up saying, if they stick the landing, I think you're going to hear me sitting here next week saying that this is one of the better shows that Marvel has done out of the 11 that they've made. So, yeah, it's got that going for it. Okay, now to get into the spoiler stuff. This week's episode was Lilia's episode, which is the clairvoyant, the older lady. We got to know a bit more about her and her life and how she's kind of, during periods, lived it out of order. And that explains also the non-linear element of this show. I do appreciate that they were able to work that into the episode. And just as a creative, I appreciate, the level of work, level of revisions that it must have taken to go to plant all these seeds that come to fruition in this episode, like her random statements. Just like all the different passes that the writer of the show must have done to plant stuff for episode 7 all the way back in episode 2. So, bravo, whoever wrote this episode, whoever was writing Agatha. Bravo. This also is, unfortunately, where we say goodbye to Lilia, who has known that her demise was incoming, who may have even taken the Salem 7 with her. And honestly, if she managed to do that, that's going to be kind of funny to me. That's like, hey, here's these scary-ass witches that's been hounding them the whole series, and this centuries-old lady flipped the room on them. And, excuse me. I should have said flip the table. That would have been better. But yeah, just this centuries-old witch managed to take him out. I don't think that's the end of him. Probably not, but man, wouldn't it be interesting if that's just how they go out. Alright, and speaking of death, I was wrong. I was fully wrong. These signs were there. They absolutely were. and they even bring that up in this episode, I just didn't think they'd do it. I just did not think they would introduce such a, like, highly important cosmological character in Agatha All Along, of all shows. Like, a show that I'm pretty certain exists just because of a song from WandaVision got popular. That they decided, oh, let's make a show about her. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm loving this show. I think it's good. But I did not think that we were going to introduce a death here of all places. And that it would wind up being Rio, Agatha's ex. Which, man, I really want to know the history of that now. I really want to know how Agatha developed a bond and relationship with Mistress Death herself. I bet that is quite a story. And actually, I don't know if this is gonna... I don't know if we're gonna find out anything about this. I don't know if it's true at all. Just something that I thought of after my coworker and I watched the episode on our lunch break. I almost wonder if... Because we know at some point Agatha and Mistress Death had a falling out. Because, like, her first words upon actually realizing it was her was, I hate you. And, you know, things have seemed to be a little tense between them. But, like, I got to thinking, I almost wonder, because we know Agatha, like, basically, I don't know if sacrifice is the right word, but she traded her son for the Darkhold. She traded Nicholas Scratch for the Darkhold. And during the little campfire sharing time in episode 4? 3? 4? 3? I think it was 3. Rio makes a comment that she heard somebody she cared about, but she was just doing her job. I almost wonder if Agatha tried to bypass the sacrifice needed to get the Darkhold because she had an end with Death. Because, you know, her and Death were... And I wonder if she tried to, you know, sacrifice her son, but still have him be around by just having Death not claim him. But Death has to do Death's job. And so that's what caused the two of them to... I do wonder. I want this backstory between the both of them so bad. I hope, like, the next 2 episodes are, like, an hour apiece, so we can properly wrap up this story. So, I don't know, we'll have to see what happens next week. But yeah, someone go ask Kevin Feige what made them decide that now, of all time, was the time to bring in Death. Anyway, so, we've got Death, we've got... Lily is gone. We have some warnings for the future. Warning for Agatha and a presumed prophecy for Jen. And if the Salem 7 are gone, maybe Death is our ultimate antagonist for this show. I mean, obviously, they can't get rid of her. She's Death. She's one of the fundamental forces of the universe. Now, granted, apparently they did kill off Death in the Marvel Comics, but, you know, I don't keep up with current comics. As anybody who's watched any of the videos I've ever done on comic books knows. So, but anyway. I had fun with this episode. I am very much looking forward to the last 2. Hopefully I get some questions or answers I'm probably going to still have some questions, but hopefully I get some answers to the questions I have currently. One that I do have, just given the end scene of this episode, and I don't think it's one we're going to get answered. I think it's just one of those things that that they want to leave open and vague for the viewer to decide. So we see Lila fall. We don't see her die, but we see Lila fall to her death. And then it cuts back to young Lila. I wonder, does she just relive her life over? I don't know. I don't know entirely how it works. Anyway, I'll see y'all next week.